Alright guys, we're going to work through some extra examples of long division, and we're going to start with number 19. Over here we have our ledger, which is our order of operations: divide, multiply, subtract. So if we look at number 19, we have z squared minus 2z minus 30 is being divided by z plus 7. So z plus 7 is going outside of our box, while z squared minus 2z minus 30 goes inside of our box. And remember, when we divide, we're only ever dividing by our leading term. That's the only number we ever divide by. The 7 gets brought back into our equation when we get to our multiplying step, but we're only ever dividing by that leading term. So we have to ask ourselves, z squared divided by z is what? Well, we know our division of exponent rules. We know 2 minus 1 is just going to be z. Or you can ask yourself, z times what will give you z squared? Z times z will give you z squared, so just a single z. Now we come back for our multiplying. We divided by our first term. Now we're going to multiply everything by our quotient, which is a good way to double check your work too. So we're going to take our z and we're going to multiply it by our divisor. Z times z is z squared. Z times 7 is going to be a positive 7z. And now we subtract this entire quantity. Z minus z is going to cancel out. 2 minus a positive 7 is really just going to become subtraction. 2 minus 7 is going to be negative 9z. And now our process is going to start to repeat. And now this is where you choose. You're going to have to bring down this 30. And so you can choose to do it right now or wait one extra step. So I've gone ahead to bring it down. But remember, your division is only ever with your first term. So we're still looking at negative 9z right here. And we're saying z times what equals negative 9z. So z times what equals negative 9z. Well, z times negative 9. So that means up top, we're going to fill in our negative 9. And now this is when you could also choose to bring down your negative 30. So you could just work here and say, okay, z times what is negative 9z? Z times negative 9. Now bring down your 30. But it's just up to you. So now we're going to repeat because we've done our division. Now we're going to multiply. We're going to multiply everything on the outside by this negative 9. So negative 9 times z is negative 9z. Negative 9 times positive 7 is going to be negative 63. And we're subtracting that whole quantity. Negative 9z minus a minus 9 becomes addition. Negative 9 plus 9 is going to cancel that out. And now same thing here, because we originally had subtraction on the outside. So negative 30 minus a minus 63 is going to turn into addition. So negative 30 plus 63 is going to be a remainder of 33. And now we stop our problem here because z cannot go into 30. There's nothing that you could say is z times what equals 33. Doesn't exist. So we have a remainder of 33. So the way we write that remainder is we take our quotient from the top, z minus 9, put a plus sign, and then plus 33 over our divisor, which is z plus 7. And that's all we do. That is our final answer. We'll do one more together. Let's do number 20. So for number 20, we have a squared plus 4a. I lost it on the page. Okay, 4a minus 22 is being divided by a minus 3. Reread it, make sure everything's good. Okay, so a minus 3 is going to go on the outside of our box. a squared plus 4a minus 22 goes on the outside. And now step 1, divide, but we're only dividing by this front term. A times what is a squared? Just a single a. A times a gives you a squared. Now we're going to multiply. Take our a, multiply it by everything on the outside. A times a is a squared. A times negative 3 is going to be negative 3a. And now we're going to subtract. A minus a is just going to cancel out. 4a minus a minus 3 is going to turn to addition. So 4 plus 3, or 4a plus 3a is going to be 7a. And now again, this is where I said you can pause and you can relook at your division, or you can go ahead and bring down that negative 2. We'll do it the other way and we'll wait to bring down our negative 2, or 22, and we'll just look at it. So far we have a up top, and now we're back to dividing. We need to say a times what is 7a, so a times what equals 7a, well a times 7 is 7a. So it's a positive 7 here, so we're going to put in plus 7. And now I'm going to bring down my negative 22. That way I'm working with a binomial. I always want to have a binomial down here. Negative 22. And now I'm going to do my multiplication. I'm going to take my 7 and multiply it by everything on the outside. 7 times a is 7a. 7 times negative 3 is going to be negative 21. And I'm going to subtract my whole quantity. 7a minus 7a is just going to cancel out. Negative 21 minus a minus 21 is going to turn to addition. Negative 22, plus 21 is just going to be a single 1. And now this 1 is going to become my remainder. There's nothing I can do with it at this point because there's nothing that I can say a times what equals 1. Doesn't exist. So my final answer is going to be my quotient of a plus 7, then put in that plus sign because 1 is positive, plus 1 over my divisor, a minus 3, and that is my final answer. I hope that helped clear it up if you needed a few more pictures of it, but as always, we'll be able to go over it together.